This is a phenomenal bike ride, and I can tell you he's so casual. This is his first time he's ever biked the full 112 miles here in Hawaii. He's never been up to the turn in Harvey. He's certainly been up there today. Doesn't he look...
Traveling far come bay on a hippie trail lit full of zombies and breakfast with Bob. Cheer.
Poncho Man! Welcome back to Breakfast with Bob, St. George edition. My name is Bob Babbitt, brought to you by Master Spas, by Zion's Bank, Quintana Roo's Forum Smart Swim Goggles, Clash Endurance, Premium Plus Sports, and of course, our Challenged Athletes Foundation. Our next guest, number 55 on the PTO ranking. Do you know that?
Yeah, I'm not overly proud of that.
I think that's pretty damn good.
I'd like to be a bit higher than that. It's okay.
Renee Kiley joins us. How you doing?
Good, Bob. I'm great. Thank you.
Thank you for taking time.
That's okay. It's exciting to be here.
Well, let's talk a little bit about, I want to go through your background. I think it's pretty fascinating. Played basketball, state, national level until 17, left home in 2000 and moved to the city to attend university. And take me through getting into business and then sort of losing your way physically.
Yeah, I left home. I was 17 when I left home and moved to the city, and I think that was really probably the start of it. Just losing discipline. I grew up in a small country town where sport was in the culture, so you played sport as a kid, and my dad coached me in basketball, so my life was very structured and disciplined. And I think when I moved to the city, I was like,
party time!
Yeah, there's nobody to tell me what to do anymore.
Yeah.
So it starts like a slow process, you know, just going out and smoking cigarettes, all those kinds of things, drinking a bit more than normal. But then I started a business with my business partner when I was about 24. And that was like really hard work.
What type of business?
Finance, mortgage broking.
Okay, oh yeah.
Yep, so we were doing really well at a young age, and then we decided to start our own business. So yeah, we were 24 and we just worked really hard, knocked on doors, and those first few years were incredibly difficult and working really long hours. But the business was great. We built quite a successful business, and we ended up with about 20 or 30 staff, like 5 years later.
Yeah.
So we did really well, but yeah, gradually my health was deteriorating, and I didn't realize it at the time. But I don't think it was just health. Like now looking back, I think that I was incredibly unhappy. Like I had the business and all the goals within the business, but I didn't have anything outside of the business.
Right.
No interest, no passion outside of work. And I think when you own a business, it's quite easy to hide behind that, you know, like...
That's your identity.
Yeah, you're building your business. I've got to work like 70 hours a week. I don't have time for anything else. Right. But the reality was I just didn't have anything else. So I didn't realize how bad of a state I was in, but I went to a health retreat for like business owners when I was about 29 years old, and they did like a fitness test or a health test when you arrived there.
And you probably thought, okay, I'm not in the best shape of my life, but I'm not that bad.
Yes, and because you avoid, when you're very overweight and very unhealthy.
You don't go by mirrors.
Yeah, you seem to know a lot about this. You avoid looking in the mirror. You avoid situations where you're confronted with your situation.
A lot of times the lights are off in the house.
Yes, all the angles are right on the camera, and yeah, you do a lot of hiding basically from the truth. But I went to that health retreat and my blood pressure was 151 over 101. My resting heart rate, they got me to sit on a stationary bicycle, and they said, like, don't push the pedals too hard, just like turn them over really lightly. And my heart rate was 99 BPM, and my weight at that time was 105 kilos or 230 pounds.
Oh my God.
So that, I guess, was confronting. But it actually didn't change anything.
No.
Yeah.
It's like, nice info, but I'm 29.
Nice info, yeah. I'll go home
really
and think
me.
about it. Yeah, but it's not that bad, and I didn't sort of make any changes after that, unfortunately.
When did it get to the point where you knew you needed to make a change?
Well, actually, it had nothing to do with my weight and health. In 2013, you've probably heard of the Noosa Triathlon.
Of course.
Yeah. So I went to visit some friends, actually, up in the Sunshine Coast.
Yeah.
And I had my hair extensions halfway down my back and my fake tan and all my designer clothes on, going to this. They said, one of our friends is doing the Noosa Triathlon. Do you mind if we just pop in and have a look? We promised we'd have a look. I said, yeah, no problem. So I'd never heard of triathlon before.
And you're in Australia.
Yeah, I'm in Australia, but I hadn't exercised in like 15 years, so I
Okay.
had no idea like what triathlon was. So anyway, we went to this triathlon and I was standing on the guardrails like as they come into transition, and it was just literally like a life-changing moment. I was standing there and watching all the people come in on the bikes, and I was like, gosh, there's people of like all ages and all sizes, and just looking around, and I didn't fit in at all, like my
Right.
size and my weight, and I'd never been around sport, but I didn't feel like anybody was judging me.
No.
And that's something I vividly remember from the day, that I felt like everyone was just enjoying themselves so much, they didn't even notice me.
No, because our sport is
Yes.
it's an equal opportunity abuser. We don't care.
And everyone's
You're
having
tall,
so much
big, short,
fun.
yeah, and
Yep.
it's the most accepting sport there is.
I totally agree.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so it was that moment, and I thought to myself, gosh, maybe, like I swam a little bit as a kid, and surely you can learn to ride a bike and everyone can run. Like maybe in 12 months' time I could come back here and have a go at doing this triathlon.
Yeah.
So I went home and I signed up immediately for the race, didn't tell anyone because I think they would have thought, gosh, she's got to be kidding herself if I had told anyone. Went home, didn't do anything about it for a month or two because it was Christmas, corporate season, drinking, all that kind of stuff. But then on the 2nd of January 2014, I went in and I bought myself a road bike, $600 road bike, taught myself how to ride, run, swim again. And then I think it was end of March 2014, I did my first sprint distance try.
Yeah.
Came 252nd female, walked most of the race. But that was my first triathlon, and it just ignited a
Changes
huge
your
passion.
life.
Yeah, and
That finish line is addicting.
it was totally addicting, and it was never, that year I lost 45 kilos, like almost half my body weight. And everyone always says to me, you know, what diet did you go on and how did you lose weight? And I said I didn't. I just got obsessed with triathlon and wanting to be better.
And to be better, you've got to eat better.
Exactly. Eat better, exercise more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
So
just
that
all
was
goes together.
Yeah.
It's domino.
Exactly.
You can't do one without the other.
Exactly.
That is the coolest thing. Your first Ironman, August 2015.
Yeah. So a year after I did my first sprint, I did my first Ironman. Was it you that you might have even called me? Because I don't know. Maybe it was
Riley.
Mike. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. My first Ironman, and I won that. And then 6 weeks later was Kona. So I did Kona 6 weeks after that first Ironman.
Wait. You qualified?
I
for-
won my first Ironman. Yeah, in a year
Age
after.
group.
Yes.
Yes. Very cool.
Age group. Yeah.
And that qualified for Kona.
Yeah,
age
which
group.
was 6 weeks after
Yeah.
my first Ironman. Yeah. So in my second year in the sport, I'd done my first half Ironman, my first Ironman, and my first Kona.
And you lost.
And lost half my
100
body weight.
Yeah.
Something
That's a
like
good
that.
year.
Yeah, it was a good year.
And probably didn't carry cigarettes around anymore.
Definitely wasn't carrying cigarettes anymore.
That is like the coolest thing ever. So then, okay, it's one thing to say, okay, I've turned my life around. I'm a good age grouper. But it's another to go, well, you know what? I think I'll go professional. I'll become a professional triathlete.
Yeah.
What the hell?
I don't know. Yeah. I guess it was 2000 so the following year I did Kona again as an age
Yes,
grouper.
age 16, yeah.
Yeah. And then I guess it was the end of 16 or middle of 16. I was racing an Ironman, and actually it was Ironman Australia, and it was a year Beth McKenzie won.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, I just happened to be listening. You know how before COVID we had the dinner presentations
Yep.
and everything for awards? And Beth got up on the stage and she said, you know, if someone had told me 10 years ago at the age of, I think she was 36 or
Right.
37 at the time, I'd be standing up here at the age of 36 winning an Ironman, I would have said you were crazy. And in my head, I was like, hang on, what? She's like 36, 37. Like, I'm 32 now. Like,
Why not?
wow.
Yeah.
But I guess I'd never thought of it prior, because who in their right mind thinks at the age of 32 in a sport they've started 2 years prior that you could turn professional? I think that's just like, not many people would think you could do that.
Obviously, you think that way.
Yeah, well, and I couldn't stop thinking about it after I had that like realization that, and started looking at the pro women more and seeing that was sort of late 30s, that
Yeah.
most of them were doing well. I just couldn't stop thinking about it from
And
that
some of
moment
them
on.
had babies and people, it's, again,
Yeah.
the sport is for everybody.
It is.
And even the pro level.
Yes. Yeah, the women are constantly just showing what they can do with babies and all that kind of stuff.
So then when I look at 2021, then it becomes another thing where you come pro in 17, but did you do 5 fulls in 2021?
5.5. I attempted 6. Let's just
Okay,
say
so
that.
you did Florida, 14th at Florida, second at Hamburg. Second at Hamburg.
Yeah, second in.
Yeah, and then you won 7th in Ironman Lake Placid, 7th at Coeur d'Alene, where it was 8,000 degrees, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then 5th at Cairns, and 4th at Shepparton, Challenge Shepparton, 9th Husky Ultimate.
Yep.
But yeah, so 5.5 fulls.
Yeah, it wasn't, to be honest with you, I don't really like reflecting too much on last season because it wasn't the best for me. I had some major nutrition issues in Ironman. Everyone looks at it and says, oh, you did 6 Ironmans. You were chasing a Kona spot, but I actually wasn't. I had Cairns was my first Ironman in June, and I walked half that marathon. So you know what it's like because you're not pushing your body to the limit,
Right.
and you're so fit from the preparation, you kind of just want to go into another race
Right,
straight away
right
to use
away,
the fitness.
sure. Yeah, because you know your swim bike is there.
Exactly. And then I did Coeur d'Alene and I had the same nutrition issues. So it was very frustrating. A lot of those races happened because I was trying to fix the nutrition issues.
Right.
But then it all came together finally in Hamburg, and I had a fantastic race there and finally had a race that showed what I'm really capable of.
That's impressive.
Yeah, so it was, and it's actually frustrating looking back a little bit because I came third the year prior at Ironman Cairns, and Cairns I was I think 2.5 minutes off the win the year prior, and Hamburg I was about 90 seconds behind the winner.
Yeah.
So I'm chasing that Ironman
Your first
win.
Ironman
Yeah.
win. You want that bad. Well, and then you were 4th at Challenge Shepparton this year, 2022.
Yeah,
so-
the season started off okay, but Ironman's definitely my strength. So
Right, and this course, does this suit you?
no, no, I would say like the actual course on paper itself doesn't play to my strengths.
Because what?
I'm good on a flat time trial
Head
type
down,
course, head
go.
down, just push power.
Yeah.
The run course I don't mind here, but I'm better in an ocean swim and like cooler conditions. But in saying that, like the course on paper doesn't suit me, but I pride myself on being like a tough racer, like
Right.
resilient, never
Well,
give up type
eh,
thing. Yeah, 5.5.
Yeah, and also Placid is hilly. Coeur d'Alene was 1,000,000 degrees
Yeah.
and hilly. I mean, tough courses you seem to be okay at.
Yeah, and I got myself to the finish with all of them on
Yeah.
very little nutrition. So
Right.
I'm a fighter. That's
And
what
you
I
feel
pride
like you got the
myself.
nutrition thing wired now?
I hope so. Yeah, I'm 90% sure. I've done 1 or 2 Ironmans now with no issues. So yeah.
There you go. Love it. And what are your goals for here?
Look, I'm pretty realistic about my capabilities.
Yeah.
I'm not the sort of athlete that's going to affect, the outcome of the race in any way. But I just want to focus really internally on this race and not get caught up. Biking tends to be my strength, and sometimes I get caught up in wanting to be at the front of the race. And I think it's really important, especially on this course, for me just
Yeah.
to focus on my numbers.
Focus on the run.
Yep.
Get off the bike
Focus
without
on my
killing.
day all day.
You don't want to come into Snow Canyon where that's at in the race, being late in the race,
Yes.
being fatigued.
No.
Because you will, that would not be good.
That's gonna, and even starting this run, super fatigued is gonna be a nightmare.
No, it's not good. Yeah. You want to be cautious.
Yes.
But look at your journey from 230 pounds to what you're at now.
Yeah.
And being a professional triathlete, you're like Beth McKenzie. If somebody had told me 10 years ago.
Gosh. I would love to see
I mean-
that sliding door thing now and see what my life would be like now
Yeah.
if I had have continued on that journey. It would
Oh
be
my God.
interesting to see where I'd be at right now. So my whole life has changed, and it's it's
Because of
it's a
triathlon.
big it's because of triathlon. It's changed my life.
I love it. Well, obviously, you're ambassador for the sport.
Mm-hmm.
You're out there telling people that, hey, this is the best thing. Because I think what happens is people look at the sport and they go 2.4, 112, 26.2. You need to be an uber athlete.
Yes.
Right? And they don't quite understand that it is for everybody. And you don't need to, you can do a pool triathlon. You can do, a sprint distance. There's so many other options out there. If you don't swim, you can do a duathlon. You can do an aqua bike, an aquathon.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many great options out there to keep people in sport, and that just makes
Just
them better
in
in
the
everything
lifestyle.
they do.
Yeah, and it's never too late. Like, I hope that I'm an example to people, like doing my first triathlon at the age of 31
Yeah.
and now racing professionally. Like, you just never know what's possible. You just need to follow your heart and follow something that you love, and you never know how it can change your life.
Exactly. And that's exactly what you're doing.
Yeah, thanks, Bob.
I love it. Renee Kiley has been our guest. Poncho Man, take us out.
And I come from the land down under, where women glow in men thunder. But can't you hear the thunder? Be better and have practice with Bob.
Poncho Man, everybody.
Wink, wink.